Welcome to Chapter 14 of The Divide. Please like and subscribe. Once every week, the students of Eminence leave the safety and prestige of its gates to enter into the surrounding forest for scout training. That is the official name anyway, but what it really is military training. From the youngest students on up, the children participate in different exercises of war, from strategic, weaponry, survival, and even battle training. Maddie's class, grade 5, train with grade 4 and 6. Today they are entering the forest from a gate on the west side of the school's property to train in stealth movements. Julia's class, grade 10, train with grade 11 and 12. They are entering the forest from a gate on the east side of the school's property. Her training today is called Battle X, which basically is a giant paintball war between different groups and different classes. Now, from Julia and Matthew's horrible experience at the shopping mall, they both could have easily never wanted to see a gun or be around anything to do with guns ever again. However, their father, before his incarceration, had one last plea for his children, something he begged for them to do, something he said would give them a chance to reclaim their courage. Their father called upon Steve, an old Coast Guard buddy from years past, now living halfway across the country. He called and asked him to take Julia and Maddie on a hunting trip. Steve, a man of few words with a weathered face and eyes that had seen too much, banged on their door one morning like a force of nature. His presence was both comforting and challenging. "Listen, after this, your old man and me, we're even," he grunted as they rode off into the woods. The first few days were tough. The sight and sound of guns, once familiar from past hunting trips with their dad, now brought back the terror of them all. Julia's hands shook as she tried to steady her rifle, the weight of it now a reminder of her vulnerability. Maddie was quicker to adapt, but even he flinched at the sound of the first shot. Steve had no interest in coddling them. Half the time he reminded them of how much he didn't even want to be there. He must have owed their dad something big, that was for sure. When he spoke, he shared stories of his time before the Coast Guard as a Special Forces operator. Tales of bravery, of survival against the odds, of facing one's fears not with denial, but with action. His stories weren't just about the past. They were lessons in resilience, in understanding that fear was a natural part of life, but it didn't have to define who they were. By the end of the trip, under Steve's gruff guidance, they found their rhythm. Julia learned to control her fears and to feel the earth beneath her feet, even with one leg different than before. Maddie, too, became stronger, more resilient, and more sure than ever before. Julia would never have admitted this to her dad, but that was the best gift he could have ever given her. By the end of the 2 weeks, they had much more than just dead deer to show for their efforts. They had reclaimed a piece of themselves, proving they were more than just victims of a circumstance. Steve gave them a look that was rare in its warmth. "You two, you aren't victims. You're survivors, and don't ever think different. Also remind your dad, now we're even." His last words to them as he slammed shut his truck door, dropping them back off at home. Rough but sincere, the final acknowledgement of their journey through trauma. Words that brought them to today, to scout training. Words that would prepare them for all that would soon come.